Howdy folks, did you all have a good weekend? Yeah? Well, forget it, it's Monday. Sorry. If it's any consolation, I'm absolutely exhausted. It's been a really long day, and it wasn't helped by the fact that, young Akazuki has gotten used to having her breakfast at a certain time of day. This is my fault, of course. Every morning, I'm up around 8 AM, and the first thing I do before I do anything else is I feed the cats. And Akizuki is always the first one at the feeding bowl. In fact, as soon as she realises I'm out of bed, she starts getting very excited. When I open the door to the man cave where I keep all the boxes and packets of cat food, she starts getting really talkative. So she's gotten used to being fed first thing in the morning at a certain time, which is great, until you try to have a lie-in on a Sunday. 8 o'clock. Excuse me, human, haven't you forgotten something? So Akazuki, I'm trying to sleep. You're trying to roll over and ignore her. Oi, I'm not talking to myself here. Get up, feeding time. Akazuki, it's Sunday. I was up really late watching TV shows on Netflix and playing computer games. And I just give me one day a week. Suddenly my toes start getting bitten through the duvet. She's like, oi, come on. Your inability to plan your life more than 6 hours ahead isn't my problem. Get up. Feeding time. So, all right. So, yeah. There's no such thing as having a lie-in when you have pets that are used to being fed at a certain time. Of course, Akazuki and the other two cats aren't the only pets we have. We've had Boo since forever. You all know Boo, yeah? Of course you do. Boo, Hound of Dracula. He's a trained killer with a heart of stone. I can't say that with a straight face. He's actually a pretty good guard dog. I wouldn't expect him to attack an intruder, but he'll definitely make a noise. The thing is, he's just so adorably stupid. Give you an example. He's got his little bed in the kitchen downstairs. That's where he spends the night. And sometimes I'm up late. Last night, for example. And I come downstairs in the middle of the night to grab a drink or whatever. And he goes berserk and starts barking. And because he hears a noise on the stairs, he doesn't know what it is, so he just starts barking. That's fine. Now, most dogs, when they see their master, they go, oh, it's you. Oh, I thought it was an intruder. Well, that's all right. Come on in. Give us a scratch, but not Boo. No. He thinks that. You can tell by the look in his eyes. But he can't stop barking. The tone of his bark changes. He's got that kind of, there's something, weird noises in the dark. Bark, 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 bark. And it changes to, oh, it's you. Bark, 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 bark. And his entire posture changes. He's like, oh, hello. And he starts wagging his tail. Well, he wags his whole back end, but he's still barking. He's got this really sort of, look, I'm sorry, I know it's stupid, but I can't stop. I'm going to need a minute to kind of wind down look on his face. He's just so adorably stupid. Because, dogs are territorial like that. Cats are territorial too, but in a different way. They're much more passive-aggressive about it. Dogs are a lot more honest. They're somebody in their territory, they're not sure, they'll bark. With a cat, they'll just ignore you all day, and then they'll wait until you're asleep and shit in your shoes. Oh, while we're on the subject of the pets, there is something I wanted to tell you, but you have to promise to keep it to yourself, right? Don't let Rita know. I've got a surprise waiting for her when she gets back from Belgium. If you've been following her on social media, she spent nearly 2 weeks in Belgium doing various World War II and tank stuff. She's due back any day. And the thing about, one of the many things about little Akazuki is that she likes to nibble on your toes. Now, she's actually quite gentle about it. As long as you stay still, it's quite cute, really. She'll lie there at your feet, and then she'll wrap all of her legs around your feet and pull one of your toes, usually a big toe, but she's not that fussy, into her mouth and just give it a little nibble. And it's actually quite gentle. She doesn't use her claws or anything. She's just holding onto your feet with her paws while she has a little nibble on your toe. As long as you don't make any sudden movements with your feet and trigger her natural hunting instincts, or even worse, if you try to tickle her back with your toes, then the claws come out. And you know, she's not being really aggressive, but she's just like, aha, you're trying to get away, right? And so the claws come out, and she starts biting a little harder. And it can be quite painful. So the trick is, you know, if she starts doing it, either move your foot out of the way or just stay still. Now, normally I wander around the house barefoot, but I recently got myself a pair of slippers. And it turns out that they're kitten proof. So what I've basically been doing is the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do when Akazuki's having a nibble on one of your toes, because she can bite and scratch all she wants when I've got these slippers on. It doesn't hurt. So effectively, I've been training her to kill your feet. And of course Rita doesn't know this. So when she gets home and she's sitting down at the PC and Akazuki's sitting by her feet and starts having a little nibble, Rita's going to think, oh, isn't she just adorable? At first. Oh, I'm going to go to hell for this one. I can't help it, it's funny. Right, anyway. So what was next on the list of things that I wanted to talk about in this week's episode of Mingles with Jingles? Oh yes, YouTube. Oh, here we go again. So first of all, a little bit of background as to what YouTube just did before I explain what YouTube just did, but a little bit of background to explain why it's such a massive kick in the teeth. So you may be aware that for a while now, YouTube has not been a particularly friendly place for independent content creators like, well, me. And in fact, if I was forced to rely on my earnings from YouTube alone, and it wasn't being supplemented by the incredible generosity of everybody who does support me on Patreon, life would be significantly more difficult around here. I mean, I'm a big enough channel that I could get by, particularly because I also have the Navy pension to supplement my income, but, well, let's just say life would be a lot less pleasant if it wasn't for my Patreon supporters and my Navy pension. I'm actually earning less from YouTube with 600,000 subscribers than I was earning a couple of years ago from YouTube with 200,000 subscribers. Doesn't make any sense, it's just the way it is, and it's been showing no signs of getting any better. So much so, in fact, that I've actually been revisiting my stance on accepting sponsorships lately. Seriously, if you have a YouTube channel of any kind of size, sponsorships are definitely the way to go. The thing is, when it comes to accepting sponsorships, my rule has always been, and this isn't going to change, that it has to be something that I can genuinely put my hand on my heart and say, yep, I can definitely recommend this to you. And it has to be something that I think you might actually be interested in the first place. And that's always presented a couple of problems, because I get one or two sponsorship offers every day. And that's no exaggeration. There are a lot of very persistent marketing agencies out there who would love nothing more than to blow their sponsors' marketing and advertising budget on a captive audience like you guys. So I've always felt that if I'm going to recommend anything to you, it has to be something that I genuinely think is A, good, and B, something that you lot might actually be interested in. And while you are a fairly large audience, you're kind of a niche audience, because while this is primarily a gaming channel, it's a kind of a niche gaming channel. I mean, we have the occasional foray into mass market gaming, the popular stuff like Assassin's Creed, like Ghost Recon, for example, but most of the time the bread and butter on this channel are games like World of Tanks, World of Warships. And while games like that are probably some of the bigger fish within their genre, it's the genre itself that's kind of small. It's never really going to have mass market appeal. It's not Fortnite, it's not League of Legends. So assuming that we share the same interests, and we obviously do, otherwise you wouldn't be here in the first place, the fact that the kind of stuff that we're interested in has such a narrow focus really limits the kind of thing I'm even prepared to look at when it comes to accepting a sponsorship. I mean, it certainly doesn't limit the kind of things that I get offered. I mean, oh God, no. And this is why I say it's no exaggeration that I get 1 or 2 sponsorship offers every day, but the overwhelming majority of them are Chinese mobile phone games. Right? So it's really easy for me to say no, especially since most of the emails from these marketing agencies are direct from the games developers themselves, all tend to start off the same way, with a massive lie. Where they say, "Hello, the mighty Jingles, we're massive fans of your channel." No, you're not. You've never watched a single one of my videos. If you had bothered to sit down and watch the first minute of any video that I've uploaded to YouTube over the course of the last year, you would know that there is no way that you honestly think either I or anybody who watches my videos is going to be interested in the Android version of Mario Kart Tour. I mean, seriously. Could you please try to make it slightly less obvious that you haven't watched a single video on my channel, and instead you're just going down a list of YouTube channels and changing the name at the start of your form letter that you've sent out in your email? Because this is no way to start a relationship with a massive lie. And that is the overwhelming majority of the kind of offers that I get. So while I say, yeah, I get 1 or 2 offers every day, that's not actually saying much, because most of them are like that. But it had gotten to the stage where I'd sort of trained myself that whenever I'm going through my emails and I see anything that's got like sponsorship offer in the title, I just delete them without looking at them. The thing is, though, not all of them are going to be crap. There's going to be some good stuff out there, even if you don't get offered anything good every day. Maybe you only get offered something good once every couple of months, but if I'm just deleting everything without looking at them, I'm never going to know. And with the way YouTube's been going for the last couple of years, if you can get your hands on a good sponsorship as a YouTube content creator, you should definitely take it, because sponsorships are seriously the way ahead. Just relying on YouTube itself, it's a fast ticket to nowhere. All of which, of course, brings us right back to the original point. What's YouTube done now? Well, going through my emails a couple of days ago, and I've got a message from YouTube itself. And it basically said, words to the effect of, "As you may be aware, we're currently re-evaluating the channel verification process here on YouTube." No, wasn't aware of that. You kept that one quiet. "As a result of this new verification process, which is designed to protect channels from identity theft and impersonation issues, your channel no longer meets the verification criteria. Therefore, your channel will become unverified in a couple of days. Thank you, bye." Whoa, hang on. What? What are you... Apparently YouTube thinks that I am impersonating myself. Right? Yeah, you couldn't make this shit up. So I thought, well, okay, based on, how we all know YouTube works, this is not going to be somebody who's been actually given the job, or a whole bunch of people who have been given the job of checking through a list of YouTube channels to see whether or not they meet this, whatever it is, new verification criteria. No, of course they haven't done that. Somebody's written an algorithm, haven't they? That's what YouTube does. They love their algorithms. And, to be completely fair, given how big YouTube is, there's no other way they could do it. And their algorithm is basically shit. Just for a change, because, it's not like YouTube are a tech company or anything. Why would they know how to write a competent algorithm? So I thought I'll do some investigating. We'll see who else, because it can't just be me, can it? And oh no, it's definitely not just me. No, there are far, far bigger channels than me who have found themselves unverified by YouTube's algorithm. Channels with more than 1 million subscribers who apparently are also impersonating themselves, according to YouTube's latest technological fuck-up. So naturally, I'm not going to take this one lying down. I'm going to fight it. So I find the page where you can lodge an appeal. And what you have to do in order to get YouTube to agree that you are who you say you are who you've been saying you are for the last 8 years on YouTube, is provide links to outside sources that verify who you are. So, for example, there was the Armchair General interview that I did years ago. I managed to find the link to that and included that. And then there's various different videos from Wargaming, where myself and Flamu were wandering around World of Warships Development Studio, trying to guess what job everybody did, and the one where I did the question and answer session at Wargaming Paris's headquarters. So I found all of these external links and I pasted them into the form, and then I hit the submit button to be greeted by a confirmation page that said it could take a couple of weeks to get the evidence reviewed. Now just think about that for a minute, because my verification status was going to be turned off regardless of, any appeal that I submitted within a couple of days. And also, imagine, because it was a pain in the arse for me to find all of those external links that verified my identity. But there were external links like that verified my identity, because within this niche part of the gaming market, I'm fairly big. What if you only have 20 or 30,000 subscribers and have never been interviewed by Armchair General? What if you've never been invited to wander around World of Warships development studios while they film you trying to figure out what jobs everybody does? What if you've never been to Edgecase Games studio to record some voice lines to be included into Fractured Space? What if you're just a Joe average YouTuber? How are you going to prove that you are who you say you are? You're not. And so your channel's going to lose its verified status and you'll never be able to get it back. In fact, there was no guarantee that I was going to be able to get mine back. But I could at least present a case. Most YouTubers aren't even going to be able to do that. Well, it turned out that YouTube's latest all-singing, all-dancing algorithm had cocked up obviously it cocked up, or we wouldn't be here talking about it, but it had cocked up to such a degree as to be virtually unprecedented. I mean, they've released dodgy algorithms before. Do you remember when the whole adpocalypse started? Basically, YouTube spread the legs and squeezed this algorithm out. And it was just demonetizing channels left, right and centre. And it took months. They were basically using us to test their algorithm, to train their algorithm. And it took months of uploading videos which were instantly demonetized as not suitable for advertisers, and then having to every day lodge appeals. And then it would take 3 or 4 days to get the appeal approved and the video remonetized, at which point it was too late. It had already had all of the views it was ever going to get. So people were basically working for free for a period of about 2.5 to 3 months, while YouTube's algorithm was learning what was and what wasn't suitable for most advertisers. Because that's just the way YouTube works. If it has to institute a change, and as a result of instituting that change, somebody is going to lose money, and it has to choose between itself, its advertisers, or its content creators, it's always going to be the content creators who get screwed over. But this new channel verification algorithm that they've been hitting everybody with over the last weekend, it must have been so shockingly bad, even by YouTube's incredibly low standards. They didn't even try to brazen it out. Within 2 days of the initial notifications that your channel is going to lose its verification status, within 2 days of those emails going out, YouTube issued a blanket email to everybody who'd been affected, and there must have been millions of us. And this email basically said, and these aren't YouTube's exact words, I'm obviously paraphrasing them here, but it basically said, oops. So you may have noticed that we fucked up. It's kind of embarrassing, really. I mean, we're supposed to be one of the world's leading tech companies, but, well, if you look at the coding of our algorithms, you'd struggle to believe it, really, wouldn't you? I mean, and, well, we'd really appreciate it if you'd just forget this whole thing ever happened. Just put it out of your mind, carry on as normal. Your channel will retain its verified status. We're really sorry, but, well, we're kind of shit. So, have a nice weekend. Bye. Well, okay, Jingles, but what's the big deal about whether or not your channel's verified or unverified? I mean, what difference does it make, really? Well, I mentioned the whole thing for 2 reasons. One, to point out what a bunch of clown shoes YouTube are, and to also point out that these clown shoes are the ones who pay me. Right? And over the last couple of years, they've been paying me less and less and less for doing more and more and more. And I'd really prefer not to be at their mercy anymore. which is why I'm exploring sponsorship opportunities. And here's the thing. There are YouTube channels out there that make a living out of re-uploading other people's videos. I've seen a couple of channels that basically do it with my videos. But the only surefire way that you can tell the difference between them and me, because most of them are fairly amateurish about them, but some of them are fairly professional and slick looking. And that verified badge on your channel is the only way you can tell the difference. So if I don't have that verified badge, how can I prove to a potential sponsor that I am who I say I am? That I'm not just somebody else who's uploading the mighty Jingles videos in order to rip him off. So, thanks YouTube. you fuckers. you had me seriously worried for a couple of days there. You fucking idiots. Well, anyway, in other news this weekend, I'm sitting there in front of the PC with Blizzard's game launcher open in front of me. Don't judge me, I was bored. I noticed that the Call of Duty Modern Warfare icon has an install button next to it. It's not a purchase button, not a remortgage your house now to be able to afford to play me button, but an actual install button. So I click it. Several dozen gigabytes later it turns into a play button, and I realise that the open beta test must be there, which might explain the sudden glut of Call of Duty videos popping up on YouTube. So I press play to be greeted by a completely unskippable 30-second, "Hey, we're Activision, aren't we great? Oh, I didn't warn some other people had something to do with this." Only to find myself on a screen telling me to piss off back to the desktop because I haven't pre-ordered. Okay, so now I'm interested. And while I have no intention whatsoever of pre-ordering anything from a major games publisher, I start to investigate. Curious to see what Activision could possibly be offering to encourage people to pre-order, purely in order to get an extra 2 days teabagging in ahead of the crowd, I click the link on the Blizzard launcher to head to the purchase screen. As you'd expect, there are multiple editions of the game you can buy, starting at a mere £50 and ending up at the eye-wateringly expensive £85 Operator Enhanced Edition. So what exactly do I get if I'm sufficiently stupid to spend any more than absolutely necessary? Well, if you just fork out the £50 for the standard edition, you get a digital edition bonus item. Ooh, lovely. What is it? No idea. There were no details anywhere. It just said you get a digital edition bonus item. It didn't say what it was. Okay, fine. So what if I get the Operator edition? Well, that gets me the digital edition bonus item and the Operator edition digital items. Oh, what are those? Are you starting to see a pattern emerge here? Give us a load of extra money and you'll get some things. Because they were point blank refused to elaborate on it. Just some things. Trust us, they're going to be worth it. Oh really? Okay. But that's not all. Remember, for a mere £85 you can get the Operator Enhanced Edition, where you get everything included in the other 2 packs, whatever the fuck they are, plus 3,000 Call of Duty points. Yay, microtransactions. Well, that's a relief. It's good to know that the game is going to come with microtransactions as well. Fantastic. Well, okay, since they're point blank refusing to tell me exactly what it is I'm paying for in these progressively more and more expensive versions of the game, can they at least tell me whether or not the game will run on my PC? What exactly does it take to get the game running on a PC other than a credit card and a bank balance that would make Donald Trump quit the presidency? Didn't say. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it didn't show you what the minimum system specifications and the recommended system specifications were. They had the 2 boxes for minimum and recommended system specs, but they both just said not yet specified. And don't forget, this is in the middle of the open beta test. People are playing the game and they still weren't confident enough to say what the minimum and recommended system specifications were. Oh. Now, it's only fair of me to point out that if you do Google the game and you go to Activision's own Call of Duty Modern Warfare page, all of this information is publicly visible. It's just the site linked from the Blizzard launcher on battle.net that makes the Epic Games Store look cutting edge. Now, whether or not you think doubling the price of the game is justified by throwing in some skins, a knife and some microtransaction points is an entirely different matter. But since Activision and Blizzard are the same fucking company, you'd have thought that it's not completely out of the question for the left hand to know what the right hand was doing. I mean, I just did a better job than them after 10 seconds on Google. And by the way, you can still get the previous title in the series, the 3-year-old Infinite Warfare, on Steam, in the digital deluxe edition for the bargain price of £80. 3 years old, £80. That's $100 for a 3-year-old game. What the fuck? I actually thought to myself, you know, because I'm not really interested in playing Call of Duty multiplayer, but their single-player story campaigns have always been very good, and I'm quite looking forward to the new one. But, you know, while I wait for it to come out in general release, because I am not pre-ordering, maybe, because I never actually played the previous game in the series, Infinite Warfare, mostly because it didn't get very good reviews, but, well, it's probably worth a go now. I mean, it's been out for 3 years. I must be able to pick it up for a bargain price. $100 fucking dollars? Are you on crack? What is wrong with you people? Oh my god. So yeah, no, I don't think I'll be playing Infinite Warfare anytime soon. Jeez. So yeah, it's been something of an up and down weekend. But it's Monday, so hooray! What horrors does this week hold? Stick around and we'll find out together. Right now I need to go and smash my head against the wall repeatedly in an effort to try to bring myself back to reality after $100. No, that's it. I'm done. I'm out. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.